Hey, everybody, this is Damien with Same Team, Different Jerseys, and my co host, Hannah, is with us again for our second podcast. Do you have anything? Say hi out there in YouTube land, Hannah?
Yeah, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. I didn't expect us to get as much action as we already have, for only being what we've been on YouTube now 24 hours.
24 hours? Yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. And we've already had a random person come and comment, which I was like, oh God, yeah. Like I was not expecting it. So thank you guys for those of you that have
Yeah.
already watched and are going to continue to watch. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, all these people with 1 million followers, and we're sitting here excited with one comment, and they're like, we get like 7,000. What the hell? Yeah, well, one comment, fucking A, yeah. Okay.
Hey, you got to start
Yeah.
somewhere.
Baby steps. That's what it is. Baby steps. Yes, it is. All right. Let's see if I can do this for our first comment because, or not comment, but where'd it go? Here it is. Share. Let's bring this up. Hegseth sends home overweight National Guard troops after viral photo. And let me show you the photo that went viral was this one right here. And the CNN article goes into how they appeared overweight. This is not
I mean,
appeared.
if we're being honest, like that first guy up front, like, bro, you're not appearing to be overweight. You are
That guy?
overweight. You are overweight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And being in the military, there are tricks. That blouse he's wearing, that is like 3 sizes too small.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Dude, you can get a bigger blouse. You can hide that gut. Trust me. I know people that can hide the gut, but yeah, they are all overweight, and for somebody who's prior military, you could tell it in a heartbeat. So, but this also goes in line with the Pete's speech that we were talking about. So we're going to talk a lot about, since we're both military or ex-military, and we know a lot about this. I'm actually kind of happy he did that. This is not what we need to show America.
The world.
The world.
The world. Like,
yeah.
We don't need to be showing anybody this.
No. This is absolutely terrible.
That's like I mean, nobody wants to show the worst side of anything, right? You look at education, they're not going to be like, we don't show the people who barely graduated or barely passed, right? We show the kids that got valedictorian or are top 10% of the class or top 5% or whatever it is, right? You show your victories and your awesomeness. You don't show your dark secrets, right? The stuff that nobody wants to hear about.
And those were dark secrets for the world, but I was active duty, Hannah was active duty. So we had our 2-week National Guard people come in and help us all the time. And we're this is not a secret to us. This is an absolute running joke in the military. Like,
oh yeah.
Anybody that's been in the military knows, oh, the National Guard's here? I appreciate what they do, and I understand that they serve too. And I don't want to say, because during Afghanistan, Iraq, Desert Storm, Iraq, yeah, they worked their ass off and they pulled their weight and they did a lot. But when you're talking about normal, every day, not going to war, you're at home station and you get the National Guard in. Unfortunately, we're kind of used to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've worked with a lot of reservists and a lot of guardsmen, whether it be Air Force, Army, whatever. I've seen, some heavier set dudes and gals come in and I'm like, how are you still in the military? Like, y'all take PT tests too. Like, I know that you're what is it? They got to go like 1 month or something out of the year. And that's like, they do all their annual trainings worth of stuff and they do all their qualifications for their job. And then when their month is done, they go home. And I'm like, y'all standards are exactly the same as ours. So how are you guys able to look like that and we can't look like that? And then you find out the little secrets about how it is they get by looking the way they look, you know? Um,
There's a
so yeah.
lot of fudged PT tests. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think that because you're overweight you can't do your job, right? If you're a paper pusher, right? Finance. If you are a finance person, a personnel, and every branch has them. Every branch has a personnel section and a finance
Yep.
department. Okay, it's its own squadron, its own group, platoon, whatever you want to call it. If you're in finance and you're a little overweight, does that mean you can't do your job? No, but in the military you are held to a higher standard. You cannot get away with being overweight and wearing the uniform. That's why we have PT tests. So it's 100% I agree that it's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Yeah.
Do we look intimidating? Do we look scary? Do we look like we can go handle business?
Yeah.
No.
You should not look like you're about to attack a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love a good Krispy Kreme donut, but
Yeah. And for anybody out there that looks at me and goes, well, there's no way you're in the military, I'm fucking retired. I earned this. This is all me now. I don't have to do a PT test twice a year. So, but when I was in, I worked out, went to the gym, I did what I needed to do. And, that's just the way it is. And I'm not saying that there's no active duty out there that's overweight.
oh no, they're there. They're there.
Yeah, we've seen them. They're there. I went in the military when we had what was called the bike test. I don't know if you remember that.
I wasn't in for it, but I've heard all about it. I heard the bike test was really hard for people who were super fit.
Yes, if you were really in shape, the bike test sucked. What most people would do, so what we would do is we'd show up to this trailer-looking thing in some of the bases, but we had a trailer-looking thing and they had bases in there, and they hook you up, and you get on the bike and you pedal, and if your heart rate goes up so fast in a certain amount of time, like if it spikes too fast, you'll fail. So people that have a natural resting heart rate of like 80, like they already have a high heart rate, they would fail that test within like a minute or two. So the trick we would do is before you go in there, you'd see everybody, non-smokers alike, like people that
I've heard this. You smoke a cigarette before you test.
You'd have a cigarette before you test, walk in there and pass it with a 90 every single time. Yeah. And then they got rid of that. Then they brought back the actual PT. And we had height and weight for BMI, which I know Pete was, I watched his speech again, just for a refresher on the way home today. I know he was, he mentioned that a couple of times that he's going to do height and weight again and BMI, which if they did a real BMI, I would agree with that. But the military does a bullshit BMI test.
Yeah, they take your height times your weight minus your age, whatever. I don't know the exact calculation, but it's something like that. They take your height, they take your weight and your age, and there's a calculation. And if the number, whatever, is a certain thing, you're a certain percentage of fat, which we all know is inaccurate as fuck, right? Like,
it's terrible.
Like we were talking about today. We've seen big buff, I mean, completely yoked, like
bodybuilders
looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, right? Just completely yoked.
Yep.
And they go in and they get a BMI done, and they're like, "You failed."
Yeah, because you get, it's been so many years, I can't remember what it had to be, but you had to be under like a 28, which sounds like a lot, and there's no way you could be a 28. If somebody out there remembers what it is, they could correct me, but because I can't remember, it's like 25, 28 or something like that. But these bodybuilders would be walking out with like such an inaccurate, like a 40 BMI.
Yeah.
And I remember when I had a BMI test done, they told me I was 54.
Yeah.
50, there's no way I wouldn't be able to stand. You can't have a 54%. Well, you could if you're the 600-pound life sitting in the fucking bed and you have to have a crane to move you because you can't get out of bed anymore. But a normal person, and I could run. Like I just got done running my mile and a half in 9:30, and they told me I had a 54. There's no way I'd be able to run a 9:30 mile and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I would go out on a limb to say that like the average person, right? Average person. I'm not talking bodybuilder who's going and working out, or even somebody who's ultra fit and goes and works out 5, 6 times a week, right? I'm talking like average person goes to work, has maybe a somewhat moderately active life, right? Like maybe they walk a lot for their job, or maybe they just like to walk around their neighborhood, whatever. Just an average person, right? Average person. I would be willing to say that their BMI, right, or their fat percentage is probably somewhere in like the high 20s, maybe low 30s.
For an average person in America?
Just average
I'd say
person.
30. I would say 30.
I'm
Because,
talking like 28 to like 32, somewhere in there, the average person.
okay, I can see that. Because,
Like I haven't worked out I haven't heavily worked out like I normally do in like 2 years, right?
yeah.
And I know I've lost a little bit of muscle mass or whatever, but I would bet to say that if I was to go get an accurate BMI done right now, I'd probably be like 29, 30.
Well, I just did mine on my new smart scale, and I got a little bit of a belly now that I've been out of the military, and I was right at 30. So
So that's what I'm saying. Like, and how active are you?
I'm pretty. I mean, my wife and I go for hikes all the time. I ride bicycles.
Okay, so on an average, on any given week, how often are you riding your bike?
Once or twice, and then we go for hikes. Anytime I'm off work, we're hiking with the dog. We're going to shows. We're always out of the house. Like we're either going for long walks. We're going to car shows where we're walking around all the time. We're
Right,
out
so
in the
pretty
yard.
normal
I would
stuff.
consider myself a normal person. Yeah,
And you're at a 30.
yeah. I'm at a 30, and and I was actually a lot higher about 6, 7 months ago before I started my a diet that works for me. Hold on, my dog is absolutely going fucking crazy back there, and he's trying to steal the show. Yeah, shut up, hey. So, anyways, the fucking dog's gonna get more likes than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Somebody's gonna comment. Don't you talk to him like that?
Yeah, and it's gonna be a white girl because he's a pity. So
Yeah, it's gonna be some woman's gonna come here. Don't you dare talk to your dog like that.
yeah, he's gonna give you that pity look, like, what was I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Anyway, I've always had a hard time keeping weight off, even with the gym and stuff like that. And I've tried every diet in the world, and the only one that has worked lately, I've lost like 26, 27 pounds. I've been fasting, and that seems
Yeah.
to have worked like a charm. I don't know why. I've tried every other diet, none of them worked. Couldn't lose any weight. Even in the military, I was always at the gym and working out and running, and I could barely, like, when they did your waist tape, because I've always had kind of a big belly. I just always had a hard time with it. And then I get out of the military and I discover this fasting crap, and that's been just melting weight off me. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Yeah. I mean, even when I was active and everything, so when I was active duty, like I never weighed more than 128 pounds. And when I would hit 128 pounds, I would immediately go into a calorie deficit. I'd be like, oh, we put on a little too much weight. We need to back it down a little bit. So I'd increase cardio, or I'd increase like high intensity workouts, right? And I would decrease how much calories I was eating. And then I'd shed off a couple of pounds and I'd be like, all right, cool, we're good. My goal weight was always to be between like 120 and 125. Now, mind you, I'm a 5'2" female, right? 5'2". So 120, 125 is about normal for somebody my height. And yeah, and even then, being 120 to 125 pounds, working out minimum 5 days a week for at least an hour, and I wasn't doing heavy weight. I was doing moderately heavy weight for my stature and size. And my fat index, or BMI, would still come up as like 23, 24%.
Okay.
Now, that wasn't 100% accurate. Like, I wasn't doing that actual BMI where they measure you and they put that little squeezy, pinchy thingy on you. I wasn't doing one of those. Might have been a little bit less, but, just going in and getting a height and weight done, I'd be around, 22, 23% or whatever.
Okay.
So I feel like that's not bad. And women, we are supposed to have a higher BMI naturally. Like, it is extremely unhealthy for women to be in the single digit BMIs.
Yeah, those are like gymnasts, and they usually, like, their period usually stops. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of side
can-
effects that
yeah.
come with
Yeah,
a
it starts
woman
messing up
being
your
singled
hormones
out.
balance. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that whole speech, whether you agree with it or not, we would love to hear the comments. I'm going to say this now. Hey, if you actually like what we're saying, please subscribe or hit like. We need all the help we could get right now. But another thing that he was talking about, along with the troops being sent home, and he doesn't want to see any fat generals and stuff like that. I know this is going to affect you. Women in combat.
Oh no. I listen. I am by no means a feminist. I personally do not think women should be serving in combat roles like that. Like when I say combat roles, I'm talking like SEALs, PJs, TAC-P, Marine recon snipers, like the spec ops stuff that you want to watch movies about and you're like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there should be a female equivalent to Chris Kyle.
No. Tier one people, shit like that.
Yes. Tier 1 operators, no, I do not think females should be in those roles. And it's nothing against women. It's absolutely 100% nothing against women. I blame men for why women should not be in combat roles. And this falls back to the nature and nurture thing of men and women. Men are supposed to do what? Going back all the way to like caveman status. Okay,
our lizard brain.
Yeah, men are what?
Protectors.
So is he going to be able to rationalize that is just a team member right now? It's not a woman. On the fly, split second.
I would love to tell all the feminists out there that might be listening to this, yes. But no. You can call me a chauvinistic. You can call me whatever you want. You can say that, oh, men are terrible and they need to get out of the dark age. It is hardwired into us.
Just like it is hardwired naturally, certain natural things happen with women that's hardwired into them. Okay, perfect example. Women who still have the ability to get pregnant, they hear a baby crying or they're taking care of a baby that's not theirs, they will naturally start to do what?
Oh.
Produce milk.
Lactate.
They have zero control over that. Zero.
Yeah.
That is just natural. I believe that's the same concept with men and wanting to be the protector. Are they going to be able to, in a split second, in a firefight, rationalize that that's not a woman right now, that's my teammate. I need to end the fight before I go do anything. Because if it's a group of dudes, they're going to finish the fight and then they're going to start doing what they need to do. I think if it was a woman on the battlefield with them, I think it's going to risk more lives than it saves.
So you should, before we get a ton of hate and you get a ton of hate, Hannah's job in the military was not a paper pusher.
No.
Go ahead and tell everybody what your AFSC, say the AFSC so all the military people know what you're talking about.
I was a 3PO71 Bravo.
Which is?
So the 3PO71 is a 5-level security forces. And the Bravo is the combat arms and maintenance shred out of security forces. Just like, so if you have a 3PO X1 Alpha, that's the K9 shred out.
Right.
So I did the what people hear security forces and they sometimes don't know 100% what that means. So it's equivalent to military police for Army, Marines, and then the Navy has Master of Arms.
Yeah, they're cops. They're cops for the military in the most basic form. Like for the civilians out there that don't know, that is a cop in the military.
Yeah. So we only some bases have off-base jurisdiction. Like there's some bases where they have the fenced-in base itself, but the base line extends past that gated area, so they actually have jurisdiction outside of the gated area of the base. So they're able to pull over the average civilian. Like Edwards, which is in California, their baseline extends all the way to I think that's the I-5 that goes right past Edwards Air Force Base. Their jurisdiction extends all the way to the freeway. So they can go and pull people over on the interstate and write them a ticket. They'll write them a civilian equivalent California ticket.
Yeah. So
So
my reason's a little bit different. I do agree with the nurture and nature thing. That's a part of it. And this is hard facts here where this is just the way it is. Women, I totally agree with Pete. He's not saying a woman can't be a Navy SEAL. He's not saying he can't be, Green Beret, or she can't be these things. He's not saying that. But there's one standard. If she can pass it, this is what all you feminists want. You want equality. This is equality at its finest. One standard. If you can pass it, congratulations.
I wouldn't even say at its finest. I'd say it's equality in its purest form.
There we
Purest
go.
form.
That's a better way of wording it. I like that. Yes, and I'm sorry to say that 99% of women are just not as strong as men. That's just the way it is. And it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of women. I'm not saying I've known lots of women in the military that are fantastic military women. They're my career field. I mean, they were great forklift drivers. They were great parachute riggers. Like these were great women. But physically, if we're going to do a fight, a physical hands down, and men are not holding back, the odds of a woman beating me is not right. Now, if you got some MMA shit, then you might get a couple licks in. I can't stop that. But that's just, that's just basic biology.
If you take the average man, okay, average man who has no military background, no law enforcement background, no fighting background, no nothing, okay, just the average Joe.
Yeah.
And you take the average Jane who has exactly the same background, no fighting, no military, no combat, no law enforcement, no nothing. I don't care what size they are as far as height. Who is going to win the fight? A hands-to-hand combat fight. Who's going to win?
It's been proven time and time again the man wins.
My money is on the man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I believe in the basic, simple things. Men are the way they are for a specific reason, and women are the way they are for a specific reason.
Yeah. And as much as most people don't want to admit it, if your house is burning and you're trapped inside and you're on the ground and you can't get up and you need are you going to want a 5'3" female, 120 pounds walking through that door that had the test for the fire department lowered a little bit so she can get in? Or do you want the 6-foot guy that's 240?
Yeah.
You could, everybody's a feminist until their life's on the line,
Yeah, I'd go to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the things. I know he got a lot of heat for this speech. I'm on TikTok and Facebook and all the other social media, and the left just tore this speech up, saying he's trying to kick women out of the military. He actually specifically said he's not trying to kick women out of the military.
No. It's not like he said, all across the board, PT tests are going to be set to the male standard. No. He's just talking about combat tier 1 operators.
Yes. And not even tier 1. I would say special forces.
Yeah, anything spec ops, right? Anything that's going through, anything that's going through special operations command, right?
Because most people don't realize that just because you're in a Navy SEAL doesn't mean you're tier 1.
No.
Tier 1 is
the best of the best.
Different. Yeah, if you have 20 Navy SEALs and you take 10 of them that are the best, and then you pit those 10 against each other, the 5 that are left, they will be tier 1.
Yeah.
They are literally better than anything on earth. So, so I appreciated that. He also went into how, I know most people got it wrong when he said he's bringing back hazing and bullying.
I agree with that.
Do you?
I do. Okay, so my first base, And I don't mean hazing and bullying in the like berating you, belittling you, making you feel like you are less than garbage. That's not what I don't think that's what he's talking about. At least when he spoke about it, I was like, yo, I know what you're talking about it, and I 100% agree with it, right? So hazing in the military is like a rite of passage. So at my first base, okay, now mind you, this is 2013. Okay, so this is after the United States Air Force just had that huge sexual assault scandal in San Antonio, and everything was super hands off. Like we were getting babied. Everybody's like, "Oh, BMT is so hard." No, the fuck, it's not. BMT is a cakewalk, especially right after that sex scandal. It was a cakewalk. You could not fail, and I think that's wrong. But we all know how the military pendulum swings. It swings really, really hard. People complain, something bad happens, and then it swings all the way to the other side to where it's super, super soft, and your 12-year-old could make it through BMT,
Yeah. And
which
now
is
it's
not what we
swinging the
want.
other way.
So I agree with hazing. We used to have this thing at my first base, and it was called getting Jeep. You were just educated enough to post. And it used to be, I mean, some crazy things. Like we had a guy one time, he had just gotten certified. Okay, just gotten certified out to do his job on his own. He was trusted to do his job. For those of you that don't know, for my career field, in order for us to be certified to perform the position we are working, we have to go through what's called a QC, which it's like it's basically a quality check, quality certification that says you've done a hands-on exercise and you know how to react to certain things, and you've done a written test and a verbal that says you know how to do your job given these examples and you know what certain things mean. Okay. So we had a guy that had just gotten qualified that night. And so we decided that this was a perfect time to Jeep him. And so after we do exercises, we all huddle together. Our area supervisor comes there, right? Our flight chief is there, our flight commander's there, everybody talks about it, yada, yada. Okay, so he happened to be armed up with the 320 that night, which is a grenade launcher. And the little grenades that you carry, we call them eggs. And we have a harness, and it's got like 18 eggs in it. Okay. Well, he decided it would be a great idea to leave his eggs in the Humvee. So we took one of his eggs and we gave it to our flight chief was in on it, our flight commander was in on it. Everybody knew about it except for him. So he's in a safe environment because everybody knows what's going on. Okay, and I'm not talking about beating somebody up. I'm not talking about berating somebody or any of that. Like I definitely don't agree with that type of stuff, right? But we took his egg and nonchalantly gave it to our flight chief. Okay. So our flight chief takes it with him back to BDOC, hangs onto it. We're going to go turn in at the end of our shift. And the armorer was like, hey man, you're missing an egg. And he's like, oh God, oh God. And he starts checking himself out. He starts going through his gear. He runs back to the Humvee and he comes back and he's like, oh my God, I don't have my egg. I don't know what happened to it. I lost it. And our flight chief's like, oh my God, like we're going to have to go out to the area and we're going to have to do a FOD walk and we're going to have to do a sector check and we're going to have to find this egg. And everybody's like, oh my God, what are you doing? You know, like we're kind of ragging on him, but we're not ragging on him to the point that he's like in tears and feels like absolute garbage, right? We're not berating him. We're just like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing? Like, how could you do this? You know? And then out of nowhere, our flight chief is like, hey man. And he holds up the egg and he's like, oh my God. And our flight chief like shakes his hand, you know, pats him on the shoulder and he's like, hey man, congratulations. You've just been jeeped. And everybody knew what jeeped meant.
Yeah.
And then after that, we left you alone. You never got jeeped again.
Yeah. First of all, it's a great training exercise. You'll never lose a freaking egg again. Or we've had people that have went to the bathroom and left their M4 outside of the bathroom. And what do? You run over, grab their M4 and fucking hightail it back to the first sergeant or whatever and go, he was taking a shit and I grabbed his M4 and here it is. And then he goes nuts looking for it. And, the first shirt might make him do some push-ups and sit-ups or something. But it was just a way to teach somebody how to do it. The problem with hazing that most people, when they think of hazing, they think of Full Metal Jacket. They think of holding somebody down and just beating them with a soap and a sock, or torture, or just something that physically hurt. Hazing isn't physical. So we had when we left stations, when I was first in the military, early 90s, when we were moving stations, we would haze you to say, hey, thanks for all your hard work and stuff like that. Well, what happened would be, on your last day of work, you're looking over your shoulder, because like everybody in my career field knew this was going to happen. So you'd be looking over your shoulder, and then you'd come around a corner, and everybody in the shop would tackle you. They would get you, hold you down, duct tape you to a chair, and then go and get all the condiment.
Oh, okay. So we had something like that in Turkey. We called it the gauntlet.
Yes, and they would come back with ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, salsa, you name it, they had it. And you'd be sitting in your chair, and they would just
Cover you in it.
cover you in it, and they would throw it at you, and they'd spin you around on the chair, and they'd wheel you across the warehouse. And I mean, this went on for about 20 minutes of them doing this. The hardest part was getting tackled and duct tape, because you're fighting for your life. But
Yeah.
when you get 7, 8 grown men and women, I don't care how big of a man you are,
You're going down.
you're going down, and they'd hold you down. And if you left a shop and that did not happen to you, you think in your head, oh shit, nobody liked me.
Yeah.
Nobody liked me. What did I do wrong? And then when that all went away, or another one that we had, and this is universal between career fields, what happens when you get a stripe on?
Oh, you got to get it tacked on.
You got to get it tacked on. You know how yeah. And when I first started leaving, the last promotion ceremony I went to, the way they tacked it on is not how I remember. Yeah, they tacked the stripe on the, when I got all my stripe, because I started as a slick sleeve. I came in Airman Basic, E1, nothing. Every stripe, I couldn't move my arms for like 3 days, because everybody would line up,
and you would just walk down,
and
then you'd turn around, and you'd walk back.
And they just nailed you. And the people that would hit you were the nice ones. The people that hit you with the edge of the knuckles, oh, that just, your arms go numb. And your arms are just black and blue. And God forbid the day before you had your anthrax shots.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Yeah. So I agree with that. It's not, and that's not it. And don't get me wrong. Like, okay, yeah, you're leaving a bruise, but like, you get bruises all the time.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like it's not like they broke your arm. So it's not like, we're physically abusing you, Now I've seen some. So my last year in the military was, I got out in early 22, so it was around 2021. We saw this video going around, and it was a security forces squadron. Okay. And this gal had just promoted, and this is when we, everybody had moved. I can't say everybody had moved upper, but Global Strike had moved to OCPs before any other Air Force command did.
Explain. You're starting to use military terms. OCPs? I know what it is.
Operational. I don't even remember what the hell it stands for. It's the multi-cam uniforms. Yes. Right, that now everybody wears, right? It's the old school looking camouflage, I guess you could say, okay? Yeah. So OCPs or multi-cams.
Okay.
Okay. So Global Strike, which is bases like Minot, Barksdale, Whiteman, Malmstrom, and Effie Warren. Okay, yeah. Those are all global strike commands. And so this person was in OCPs. So we knew at the time that it had to be a global strike base. Okay, and it's a security forces squadron, and this girl gets promoted, and they're doing the ceremony at guard mount, okay, which is what security forces, we do that before we go out to post. We have to do a guard mount, and we hear about what we're expected to do that day for patrol, where everybody's going, if there's been any changes, yada, 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 okay? And then we hear about what happened on the last shift. So they're at guard mount. This gal gets promoted, and the flight commander rips her old one off, puts her new one on, right? And he taps her chest with it real quick. And then he like lunges and makes contact. And I mean, it was like, if it had been me, we'd be fighting. Like, it was not one of those ones where you're like, oh, hey, you just got promoted. Because 9 times out of 10, if the person is standing here, they just do a quick pop,
Right.
right? It's not a big workup and like making contact. This dude
Right.
lunged, boom, and I mean, like, she like, you see her like, ugh, and like goes back, and I was like, okay, that's a little extreme. That's extreme in my opinion.
Okay. So when I got my wings, my parachute wings, I was the only Air Force guy in the Army school.
Okay, now
So
the Army does it differently though.
yes,
When you get something that's got tack.
okay, so yes, so I in my career field, you can become what is called a parachute rigger, and we're not talking like personal shoots. I'm talking about big G11, G12. So if you want to push a tank out of a plane, that's the parachutes that I rigged. So I am a parachute rigger for large loads. And you have to go to an Army school for that because that is an Army career field. So when I went to the school, I was the only Air Force guy in it, got ragged constantly because Army Air Force fight. That's just what we do. And no big deal. And I graduated first in the class. So I graduated top honors in the class. And so
As you should, being
yeah,
that you were the only Air Force guy
I was
there.
the only Air Force guy. I had to represent. So I actually have the award up there for being top parachute rigger. So the commander comes in with the the Army guys are going to kill me when I get this wrong. It'd be an E7 for the Army.
Sergeant Major?
I think.
I think my
Yeah.
brother's an E7. I should know this.
Yes, they call him the shirt. The shirt. They call him the shirt.
I'm pretty sure that's a sergeant. Is it a sergeant major?
I think so. Army guys.
I feel like I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Fucking Google this. We apologize, Army guys. We love you. But anyway, so they come in and they give everybody the award and they pull me off to the side and I take, shake and salute, which is how you accept an award in the military.
Sergeant first class.
Sergeant first class. Yep. So I take shake and salute. You know, we get back in formation, we stand at attention, the commander leaves, and the E7, he was like, okay, I'm going to leave now. And I don't know what's going on. I'm a young airman. I was in E4 at the time, so senior airman. And I'm like looking around at all the Army guys, and the fucking two get up, and then they all line up, and you have metal rigger wings that have frogs on the back of them. Well, everybody started taking off their frogs. Frog is, if you have pins, the frog is the little thing that you stick on the end of the pin to hold it onto whatever clothing you have. So now you just have the two spikes, and they all put those on, and everybody goes down the line. And the first one, I can tell you, doesn't hurt. It's so fast, it just goes in. The problem with it is when it goes in,
it pulls out.
It comes out a little bit. And then the next guy drills that in, and there's 12 people in the class. So you get nailed 12 times. I just had blood pouring down my chest. But as an Air Force guy, I couldn't fucking say anything. I can't be the one guy that being like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So I had to shut up and fucking color. You know, I had to cowboy up. Put the big girl panties on.
And see, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, these are traditions. Like, now, the Army's been around for a while. Right?
Yeah.
The Navy's been around for a real fucking long time. Okay. Marines have been around for a real fucking long time. Okay.
Yeah.
The youngest branches are the Air Force and the Space Force. Like, the Air Force is not very old.
No.
Okay. And we branched off of the Army. So Air Force is still, they get a lot of their traditions from the Army, and they've kind of transcribed them over, but they're also creating all their new traditions. So what made this tradition okay back in the day, right, when the Army first started getting established? What made that tradition okay, but now it's not okay? It's a tradition, and it's a tradition for a reason.
And being in so long, I mean, I went in 90, 95 and got out in 2018. So I've been in for a majority of, I mean, I went through a couple different uniform colors, the whole 9 yards. And when I went in was completely different. I mean, we still had wall to wall counseling. For anybody that doesn't know what wall to wall counseling is, it's when your sergeant literally takes you out back and beats the shit out of you if you did something wrong, all the way up to when I got out where you couldn't be touched. Like nobody would touch you. Like there's no laying hands on anybody. And no, I don't think that a grown man should just take a young kid, 18-year-old kid straight out of high school out back and beat the fuck out of him. But I also don't believe in this kinder, gentler Air Force either, or military in general.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't either. No.
we need to have a happy medium. Like there's been a lot of things in the military that have gotten better that I think are great with progress. Women in the military, they have so many more avenues to report things and to help them. And when I came in, I can tell you some horror stories, and they weren't pretty. Like if you accused anybody of SA sexual assault back then, you were quietly moved. And for anybody out there that doesn't know, it means you got PCS'd. It means they moved you bases to make the problem go away. But now we've moved so far over to where if a girl says, "Oh, I had a sip of a drink and oh yeah, I had sex with Bob," Bob's going to jail because you're not allowed to touch a female in the military if they have one drink. They can't consent. I think we've gone too far one way. But the reporting and all that, I know it's still a problem in the military. I'm not female, so I'm not privy to all of it. I mean, they have, well, this is where your expertise would, and plus you were a cop. So we have restricted and unrestricted reporting now. And I think that's a bad idea, but I don't have a great solution on how to fix this.
So we talked about this a little bit, right? And I agree with
I set up the volleyball for you.
There's so many ways to report things in the military. Okay. What I think the big issue is a lot of because the only person in your chain of command who can dish out punishment is your commander.
Yep.
Okay. For the Air Force, it's your commander. So each unit, okay, I was in Minot, I was a part of the 5th Security Forces group. Okay. Our commander was our lieutenant colonel or colonel, depending on what you had. And he was only in charge of all of security forces. So it's in Minot, we had over 500 cops. I don't remember the exact number. It was under 600, but it was more than 500.
Yeah, Minot's
so
a cop base.
That's one man. That's one man or woman in charge of 500 people. Okay. What I don't agree with is the fact that he or she has all of this power and it's unchecked.
Yes.
Okay. Now, don't get me wrong.
There's a good old boy club in the military. Don't fucking let anybody lie.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, right? Now we have JAG, which is our attorneys, right? It's the military equivalent to attorneys, okay? And they're to make sure that if you're charging somebody with any type of article or you're giving them a type of punishment, which the commander can only dish out so many types of punishment. You have reduction in pay for so long. You have a reduction in rank. You have extra duty, confinement.
Yep.
Yeah, confinement to base or legit confinement, like he's putting you in jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the break.
Yeah, those are the only forms of punishment he can give you. That's it. And if he's going to give you one of those forms of punishment, the JAG office has to say, yes, this checks all the boxes. It's legally appropriate. You can apply this punishment. So.
And you get a lawyer too.
Yes. Yeah. If you're smart, you get a lawyer.
Yeah.
So, I don't like the fact that that's the only checking that they get is that it's legality. There's only a legality check. There's nobody coming up from his boss is not coming to him and saying, "Hey, this is a brand new airman. They don't know anything, right?" Because everybody knows 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, they're fucking stupid. They're
Sure.
stupid, for a lack of a better word. Okay? They're
Yeah.
stupid. They're going to make mistakes. You're throwing them out here to do something. They haven't had a legit job, a legit adult working job, especially with the stressors and the pressures that you get from the military.
Yep.
So there's nobody coming in to check him and be like, hey, maybe we should look at this a little differently. Like, this isn't just a piece of paper sitting in front of you. This is a human being. Because there's a lot of commanders that they just see your paperwork. They pull out your PIF, which is your personal information folder, which has everything you have done at that base. At least in the Air Force, that's how it works. It is just at that base.
Yep.
And that's all they see. They just see all these pieces of paper and they're like, well, he's a piece of shit. Here's the punishment. There's nobody coming in and being like, hey, man, maybe we should give this guy a chance, or at least talk to the guy. Treat him like a human being. Now, if you have a really good chief, which is an E9, okay, which is your top enlisted, if you have a really good chief, they might come and be like, hey, boss, I think we need to talk about this. We need to think about this a little bit more, and we need to take some more stuff into consideration. If you have a really shitty chief, which I've only had one good chief out of my 10 years, you're probably going to get a really shitty chief.
And I've only had one shitty chief in my 23 years. I've had a lot of great chiefs, but most of my chiefs, they were older. Like, you got to think when I came in. I mean, all my chiefs they were old. Nowadays, you have chiefs that have like 15, 16, 17 years in.
Oh, yeah, bro.
That sounds like a lot for like everybody else in the civilian world,
but your chiefs normally have like 20 plus years.
Yes, they are old school. They have the experience. And a lot of them, when I was growing up, had Article 15s. Like when I was growing up, chiefs said you can't be a chief unless you have an Article 15, because that proves that they have fucked up so bad that they got the Article 15. They corrected it and made it through it, and they learned. So nowadays, you have chiefs. Now you can't even get a chief if you have an LOC.
Yeah.
Like, that might be an exaggeration because I haven't been in them, but like their record is like squeaky clean. And no offense, you don't want anybody in charge of you with a squeaky clean record.
No, I would rather, if I had to choose for a supervisor, somebody who is squeaky clean and has never gotten an LOC, an LOR, never gotten an article, or a supervisor that's done fucked up a few times and has bounced back from it, I'd rather have the one that's fucked up just a little bit. Just a little bit, right? One Article 15, maybe a couple of LORs. Cool. I'd rather have that than the person that has never fucked up.
Yeah, because if you're squeaky clean, what have you done in your life? Like, you've never done anything.
We're getting a little sidetracked here, but okay, so there's nobody to check. There's nobody to check that commander. Okay, there's nobody checking them.
Right.
Okay, so I have an issue with some of that style of reporting. Okay, so let's say you get sexually assaulted. Okay, you have two styles to report: restricted and unrestricted. Unrestricted, your whole chain of command. So your supervisor, your supervisor's supervisor, the supervisor's supervisor's supervisor knows, and then your first sergeant knows, your chief knows, your commander knows, and I'm going to tell you right now.
Everybody knows.
Everybody in the whole unit knows now.
Yep, unit squadron.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Their wives know. Like, your name is out there.
Yep, everybody knows when you go the unrestricted route. Now, if you go the restricted route, your chain of command gets left out of it. They get no knowledge of it. Okay, so in the Air Force, that would be SAPR. We would go to SAPR, and they're the Sexual Assault Prevention Response something. I don't really know. Okay, it's been a while. But so you go to SAPR. You do have to notify your first sergeant that you need to go see SAPR. At least in my situation with one of my troops, I called SAPR and they were like, your first sergeant has to make the appointment. Now, you have to be careful of what you tell them unless you have a good first sergeant. Okay, some first sergeants, they'll be like, don't tell me anymore. I'll call, I'll make the appointment. Then you have some that are like, hey, tell me what's going on. And if you divulge too much, I'm just going to act like I never heard it. And they'll make the appointment anyways. Okay, so you go that route. Nobody in your chain of command has to know until something changes. Like you get put in for a PCS. because you get the option. My troop got the option, and she chose to PCS.
Okay,
Which I don't blame her.
if
I don't blame her.
if you go restricted, is justice ever going to be served?
You know, I don't know, because it gets turned over to OSI, which OSI in the Air Force is our
Operations of Special Investigation.
yeah, so it's like equivalent to talking to a detective in the real world. Okay. That's their sole job, is to investigate stuff. So it gets turned over to OSI, and then they go through their stages and they investigate everything, right? And I don't know. I've seen cases where people do get charged and they end up getting kicked out, and then I've seen it go the opposite way and nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. And I don't like that. I don't like that there's cases where stuff doesn't happen. They get
I,
PCS'd, they get the person gets PCS'd, and then it's like it all disappears.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, the PC, that is the most famous thing in the military to make a problem go away. We just PCS somebody. And if Pete is listening, for God, please have Pete hear this one part, because you had an absolutely fantastic idea that I never thought about. How do you fix this problem?
You make it a civilian organized group, like an SBA, that is 100% civilian orientated, and that is their sole purpose. All they do is investigate sexual assaults, rapes, harassment, you name it, anything of that nature. That's their sole purpose and job.
So we need a stabler for the military. For people that don't know that name, that's Law and Order SVU. He's the detective there. So we need an SVU civilian for the military. And for anybody that comes out and says, we can't have civilians messing with the military, we are ran by civilians. Like, this is not like an out there idea. Everything the military does has a civilian checks and balance with it. The president.
Not only that, but every branch has a top tier leader that's a civilian. The Secretary of the Air Force is a civilian.
Because I don't think people realize how much power a full bird colonel wields. So when even a cop, even an OSI person, when he talks to a colonel, he's still, yes, he's in civilian clothes. He's not supposed, it's agent so-and-so, or, you know, they don't give their rank, but he knows he's still talking to a colonel. Like, I don't care who you are. Yes, you're supposed to separate it. You're still talking to a colonel, a general, a cap. You're still talking to an officer. But a civilian, if that young lady or young man or middle-aged lady or middle-aged man goes to a civilian and says, I was sexually assaulted, I was raped, then that civilian can walk into the colonel's office and they don't give a flying rat's ass if you're a fucking colonel.
Yeah, they don't care.
They're just going to do it. Let's pull everybody in. You know, and
I think that's the way it should be, because I think that goes in with the good old boy system, right?
Yes.
The good old boys. Okay. We've all seen it. The good old boys get promoted. The good old boys gets they get the Gucci TDYs. They get the good deployments, right? They never ever get in trouble. Like, I've seen dudes that were on the good old boy system and they got DUIs, never got any repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
But then a couple weeks later, another guy of the same rank gets a DUI, and guess what? Gets demoted, reduction in pay, gets sent back to flight, gets extra duty days, and totally gets fucked.
Yep. And that's what
we've all seen it.
That's what Pete was talking about in his speech about, you know, more accountability, merit-based promotions, you know, all these things that he's talking about that we need to stop looking. He pretty much attacked the good old boy system and said, just because you're a certain group doesn't mean you're going to get the promotion, because we've all seen people get in trouble and get away with it because they're part of the group. We've all seen. So you were probably towards the end, they were doing quotas for EPRs. Your EPR is your report card at the end of the year, basically for anybody in the military, and it goes.
Yeah, an EPR is an enlisted performance review. You get them
Yeah.
done annually.
Yep. So they're 1 through 5, and a 5 is supposed to be your fucking.
Nope. It's not like that anymore.
Okay.
It's not a 1 through 5.
Okay, fuck off. You're younger than me. So when were you in when there was 1 through 5?
My very first EPR was a 1 through 5.
Okay, so you remember it.
But
So,
since then, that's changed as well.
what is it now?
Since the first change that I had, so my very first EPR was a 1 through 5. Then they went through a below average, exceeds the standards. Okay. So then I switched to that.
What is that?
So your below standards would be your 1s, your average, which so it's like non-promotable, promote, highly promotable.
Okay.
So highly promotable would be your 5. Your 3s would be your promote. Non-promotable would be your 1s.
Okay. Is that how they do it now? Or do we not
It's
know?
like that. It's like that. But there was a big change. The year I got my Article 15, they had done a big change to where it's still the same name, right? It's still non-promotable, promote, highly promotable. But they changed the point system.
Okay. Yeah, because
So
I was in when like you got points for time in service, all kinds of crap.
Yeah, so you still get points for time in service, right? But now, like PT scores is 0 points. You either passed or you failed. You either met the standard or you did not. That's it. There's no points for it. So if you passed your PT test, it doesn't matter how great of a PT test you got, right? You could have got 100%. You still meets the standard.
Okay.
So it's no points. They took points away for PT, but now they changed it to where like promote get the average, like, I don't want to say average, but it's like the minimal amount of extra points given, right? And then if you're one step up from a promote, you're getting like 50 to 60 points more than that kind of thing. And then if you're getting a highly recommended to promote, you're getting like 450 extra points.
Okay, so it's
so where basically now, if you're getting that, what's equivalent to the 5, the highly promote or must promote, I think is what it's called. I think it's called must promote. If you're getting a must promote, they pretty much changed it to where if you get a must promote, you're practically guaranteed to make rank.
Okay, so do they have quotas still because they started the quota system for the 5s. So can only like so many, like.
Yes.
So, okay.
So there's a percentage. It's a percentage. Like only 5% of people in this grading period who are promotable can get a must promote.
Okay.
There's still a percentage.
Okay. So back to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted.
You're welcome.
Fuck it. Anyways, you could only have 2 5s for like each grade. So that's kind of how it works. So you can only put out 2 5s. The secretary of the commander always seemed to get a 5. Like, and if anybody that doesn't know that, the commander has a secretary who's a military person. They're admin. So since they're admin, they just sit and talk to the commander all fucking day long. They do his reports, they get his coffee, they do everything. So therein lies the problem. You either don't ever give them a 5 because you don't want to show favoritism, or when he gets a 5 or she gets a 5, what's the first thing that the whole squadron thinks? They're the commander's secretary. Of course they're getting a fucking 5.
Sorry, my cheek itched really bad.
Yeah. So yeah, if that's what you're
they
going
probably
with.
They probably got some knee pads in that bottom drawer of that desk over there.
That was and
that's the typical. It's the same concept. Okay, but this is my thing though. Okay, so now let's take a security forces squadron for example.
Yeah.
Okay, secretary's commander, which they've since changed some of this stuff now, where a lot of in security forces, a lot of our S1 personnel who are in charge of in processing and out processing new troops, right? They're in charge of your promotional paperwork, right? They do all the admin stuff for the entire unit. They've changed that now to where they're actually from admin. They're not security forces people anymore. But 9 times out of 10, I can't say 9 times out of 10, but sometimes you will still have a security forces person being the secretary to the commander.
Right.
Now I've noticed at bigger bases, it's a civilian role now, which is good. I agree with. But you still get those admin positions within a unit, right, where they are working for the chief and they are working directly for the commander. And so out of the people that are doing the job, right? I get that that's their job, but that's not their primary job.
Right.
As a security forces member, their primary job is security forces stuff. Work in the gate, work in patrol, work in BDOC, work in it, whatever resource you have on base, right? The whole 9 yards. So I look at that and I think, who's more promotable? The person who's not doing anything that actually relates to their designated job, right? Their AFSC, or the person that's kicking ass in the job that directly correlates to their AFSC.
Right. Yeah,
In my mind, it's a no-brainer. Like, I'm not gonna choose to promote this person just because they know how to make my coffee and they're really good at filing my paperwork. I want to promote the guy or the gal that's out there kicking ass on the street.
Yeah. But I mean, and
it doesn't work like that.
And there you run into the same problem of, okay, if you don't promote him, then it looks like he's not promoting him or giving him the 5 because he's the secretary. But if you give it to him, oh, well, now he gets it because he's the secretary. So I like the civilian. If the bigger bases are going to civilians, I think that there should be no military associated with running the commander's errands. There should be no civilian. There should be no military person doing that, because then it's just basically you're getting promoted for ass kissing. How good are you at getting coffee? You know. Oh, I need.
How good are you? How good are you at scheduling their meetings?
All the fucking meetings. So, yeah, and so I was, for the most part, like I said, I listened to the whole video, and the whole ending the woke EI. He specifically said trans people no more in the military. I agree with that. I know the trans community is going to get really pissed off at that comment, but there's so many things that go into deploying medication. Like if you're actually trans and you are taking hormone therapies and stuff like that, guys, there's some countries that we go to that you can't get those medications in.
Yeah.
And that means you don't get to deploy to those, and everybody's like, oh, that's fine. Just have them do admin. Well, if that person's not getting deployed, that means I have to do 2 deployments.
Yeah.
And that's not fucking fair. Just because they're trans, I got to pull another Afghanistan deployment because they can't get their hormone pills or whatever they're going through. I don't want to, I have no problem with you being trans. I have no problem. If you're trans, fine. If you want to be the opposite gender that you were born as, that's your business. The military is just not for you.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't think whether you've already transitioned and you want to join, I don't think that's okay.
No, because it is a lifelong sentence if you're transitioning. Because you have to you got to constantly take the hormones. If you're going from male to female, there's a lot of like if you've had what they call the bottom surgery, there's a whole bunch of complications that go along with that. And you can't go to Afghanistan and all of a sudden your new female parts start acting up. You're in the fucking desert.
Yeah.
So
like the little medic station that's there is not going to be able to take care of your problems. So now what do we have to do? Now we have to rapidly spin up somebody new and be like, hey man, you're leaving in 2 days.
Yep.
Get your shit together. Get your will made. Get your finances taken care of. Get your house taken care of. If you're married with kids, get it figured the fuck out. 2 days, you're on a plane. You're gone.
And just so you know, that person that's getting spun up in 2 days, his wife might be pregnant and due in a month.
Yeah.
Because the military tries to accommodate if your wife is pregnant. They try, but I know lots of people that saw their baby born over Zoom. Well, not didn't have Zoom back then, but over a
Skype.
phone call or Skype, or I've known people that saw their child for the first time on a computer screen because they had to get spun up real quick, or it was an emergency deployment or whatever.
And
And
everybody's going to come back and everybody's going to say, "Oh, well, you signed up for that. You signed the dotted line. You knew what you were signing up for." Like, yes and no. I signed up to serve my country, and I knew that that could mean giving up certain things, right? I knew that I'd be missing out on stuff. I knew that I could possibly die, right? And we all knew that. We all accepted those risks. We knew that. But what's not fair is that because you let somebody in who can't hack it without certain things and you send them somewhere where they can't get those things because of their choices and their decisions, now I have to go to replace them. That's not fair.
And
that's not fair. It'd be a whole different story if it was like, hey, a guy lost his leg, he's getting shipped to Germany, because that's 9 times out of 10 that's where they end up going, is they end up going to Germany. Because Ramstein has a huge medical facility.
Advanced one.
Hey, we got a guy in the unit, he got his legs blown off, he's going to Germany, so we need you to spin up. I would take that 100% over, the trans person in the unit didn't get his meds and he's having complications, so now he has to come. No, fuck that dude. Fuck that dude.
Or do that. However they...
Whatever it is. That person, fuck that person.
Yeah, because trust us, we're both military. If we got a phone call at 2 a.m. and said, especially if it was somebody from our unit or somebody, because if we're replacing somebody, it's somebody we know, and we just found out his legs got blown off or he got shot or something happened, we'd kiss our wife, you'd kiss your wife, like we would kiss him and say, I gotta go. And we would be more than happy to take that person's spot.
Oh, yeah.
But if we get a phone call that says, oh, you need to take this person's spot because, and not just trans, trust us, there's been girls that have gotten pregnant over there. Yeah, shocking. They're not supposed to be having sex, but guess what? People are fucking. Anyway, but they get sent home, and now you have to go and take the spot of somebody that decided to get a little freaky deaky.
All because they didn't want to take their birth control.
Yep. Or I worked customs in Qatar, or they had a hard time getting their birth control, so the girls couldn't take their birth control, and the military looks at it like, well, you're not supposed to be fucking here anyways.
Yeah, like, you're not here to be doing that. No, don't get me wrong, it's human nature. Everybody's gonna do it. Okay, whatever. Pick your poison. Don't care. Right? I'm not going to die on that hill and be like, it's 6 months. You shouldn't be having sex. Even though you're single and he's single, y'all shouldn't be having. Never going to happen. Whatever. They have changed the birth control one just a little bit, but birth control is one of those medications that if you send them with a 6-month supply,
they're usually good.
They're good, right?
Yeah.
Like, not only that, but it's not something that like is totally going to fuck up their whole system if they accidentally take 2 in one day or they miss a couple of days. Like, it's not going to totally wreck their system. Whereas these other hormones, what happens if you lose a vial? What happens if you take too much? What happens if you accidentally forgot a day? Like, there's more complications, and depending on what they are, the doctor might not feel comfortable sending you with a 6-month supply.
Yeah, because most people don't... Military people are human. There are bad, sketchy people. And we get drugs really easy. Like, I had in my medicine cabinet, I had bottles of Vicodin, Percocet, you name it, any painkiller I wanted. I had just on the street value, probably easy tens of thousands of dollars in my medicine cabinet at all times. And people, if you get like a whole bunch of hormones that can be sold over there, you've heard of it. I've seen it. Women go over there and they get sent back because they decided to sell themselves. Well, because it's a whole bunch of horny guys over there. Sorry. Like, I'm gonna just tell it.
The desert flowers, or the most common name, the morale boosters.
The morale boosters, like it. And you guys may say this is disgusting, but it's a thing.
It happens.
It happens. It doesn't take very long for a 19-year-old female to go, I only make $800 a paycheck, but in the desert, I could make $5,000 a week. That math, trust me, isn't hard to do.
Girl math. Girl math is easy.
Girl math is easy. And those females, especially if they're good looking, and just so you know, the ugly ones too, they'll figure it out too, because you're in the desert. You know, there's no such thing as a one.
Well, yeah, it's just like the oh man, my second base. We had girls that got sent back. This is prior to me getting there. But they had girls get sent back because they were fucking the Iraqi or Afghani inmates through the fences. We had a girl that my first year there, we had one girl, and I never fucking met her. It was right when I got there. They had a girl that got sent back because she was fucking an inmate through the fucking fence.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason we have cops, OSI, and jails in the military. We have, some of them are not great people. So it happens. So back to the trans. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody that's transgender, that's honestly transgender, but there's only 1% of the population that is in the military. It's rare to be in. There's a reason it's rare to be in. You can't be fat. You can't have flat feet. You can't have asthma. There's a ton of reasons that you can't go in the military. I mean, there's literally a book of reasons why you cannot join.
Oh, yeah. They look for anything and everything.
And then when you get to basic, they're going to weed out anything that you lied about. They're going to try to weed that out.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Serve in a different way. Become a civilian contractor. Like, there's a dozen different ways you can help out, because you're never going to be the combat thing. And I'm sorry, don't tell me that some of them aren't going in just for the medical.
Everybody joins for different reasons.
Yes. And if you're trans and you're going in just because you're going to get free bottom surgery or free top surgery or whatever,
you're joining for the wrong reason.
Yep. You're hurting other people that went in maybe for a different reason. But like, if you get deployed and you got to get sent back, now you're fucking somebody with a family just because you wanted your top surgery or whatever, hormones for free or whatever. And I just think,
I agree. Like, I think if you're in and you start the process, I don't think you should be in anymore. That's not our taxpayers' money does not pay for that.
Yeah.
That's not what they're paying for. That's not what they want.
Yeah.
Right. And I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. If you already are, you're not coming in. If you're in and you start the process, I'm sorry, but it's time for you to go. The taxpayers are not paying the military to do that. That's not what they're paying us for.
Right.
They're paying us to defend and protect their constitutional rights. That is it.
Yeah.
And your sex change has nothing to do with their constitutional rights.
Right. And if you want to get off work, go home and dress up in a dress, as long as you do it in the privacy of your own dorm or your own house or whatever,
I don't care.
I don't give a fuck. Like,
I don't care. In Minot, we had there was a, surprisingly, kind of talking back to our first episode, in Minot, there was a drag show. Yeah. And there was a person from the base who was very well known. He was a gay guy. He was very well known. And he actually would participate in the local drag show.
Yeah. As long as you're
and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody said anything. Nobody gave a shit. Like, everybody loved it. Everybody was like, cool, bro. That's you. Do your thing.
Yeah. And
do what you want.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this about everybody. Like, I was very supportive of when the don't ask, don't tell policy went away. Like, I thought that was a terrible policy, because I knew gay people in the military when the don't ask, don't tell, when they were on the down low and they were hush hush. I knew they were gay. They told me they were gay. They were great fucking people. I have no problem with, and most military people, they don't give a shit that you're gay. Like, They really don't. I was in a squadron that had a captain. He was black and he was gay. Everybody fucking knew he was gay. Like, I'm sorry for the LGB community when I say it was obvious. But some of you fuckers are obvious. Let's be honest. He was dead straight gay. We all knew it. And so when
Yeah.
the don't ask, don't tell went away, we were having a squadron party, and he walks out and he was like, "Hey guys, I want to make an announcement." And he was like, "Just so you know, I'm gay." And we're all sitting there with our beers, and we're all, and we all stopped to listen to him, and we were like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
We know.
Captain." And then we went back to doing whatever we were doing. He was pissed that we didn't make a bigger deal of it. It was like, dude, we never cared. We've deployed with you a dozen times. Like,
Yeah, like we knew.
yeah, you're Bob.
Yeah.
You've been Bob. That's not his real name, but you've been Bob since we've known you, and we don't care. You work your ass off. You're a great captain, and you're a great friend. Where you put your dick,
We don't care.
none of my business.
We don't care.
Don't care.
Just don't try it with me. We don't care otherwise.
Yeah, and I've always been very when I first got hit on by a guy. I know a lot of men get really pissed off at that, but I was just like, hey, dude, that's not for me. I'm straight. I'm not into that. And I have yet to have any guy get pissed off. They're usually like, oh, okay, cool. And they sit down, they have a beer. And you know what a gay guy is great at? Getting you a woman. If a gay guy looks at a woman and said, this straight man's a good man, you're getting laid. And it is, I've always had gay friends, love having gay friends. They've gotten me more women than I can count. So
yeah.
So, but we don't really care. Most of us have a problem with the transgender because of what it entails and the problems that it comes with. So
yeah, it's nothing against the person.
Yeah.
Right. It's absolutely nothing to do with the person.
Nothing.
But it's everything else.
Yeah.
It puts too many hardships on us. But so he mentions a lot of great things, right? He talks about less online training and more hands-on training, which I completely 100% agree with.
Oh my God, if we have to do cybersecurity one more fucking time.
I know. Yeah.
And they never, everybody that's military, we all know the video that we have to watch.
I think his name is Steve.
He hasn't changed since we started having fucking computers in the military. He's been the same goddamn person for me, you. If my dad had computers, he probably would have had it because my dad was military. But he's been, it's been, I think he's
the same guy. I'm pretty sure it's Steve.
Yeah, it's the same fucking video we've all watched, and we all know, not to mention, we all have the answers because we pass them between each other. We're like, it's A, B, B, C, B, A, C, C, A, B, A. So we sit there and we click through it real quick, get to the tasks and go, A, B, B. Okay. That's how we all pass. None of us watch that fucking video.
No. So I agree. Our job is a hands-on job. That's how our training should be. I should not be spending 8 hours sitting behind a freaking desk watching a PowerPoint slide on how to do rollover Humvee drill. That is not a PowerPoint. They make machines. They make training systems for that nowadays where you can actually experience a Humvee rollover. Yeah. We should be doing it hands-on. End of story. Yep. He talks about change of BMT, right? BMT going back to the hardcore old school way that it used to be. I agree.
Real BMT. Yep.
I agree.
I watched the
BMT is easy as it is, right? BMT is super simple. You get there, you get off the plane, they take you in. Your drill instructor yells at you until you're scared shitless of them, right? They give you your stuff, you shower, you go to bed, you get up really super early, you go get your uniforms, you go get all the shit that you need for BMT. And then guess what? You're sitting in a classroom, learning about the heritage, learning about the UCMJ, learning about common sense stuff for the military. You're learning about ranks and the chain of command and all the bullshit that you need to know. And then you go eat lunch. And then you might go on a marching trip to go do your medical and get your blood drawn and get your shots and do all this other bullshit. Okay? Then you march back to your squadron. You do some more in classroom training. And then on the side, when your drill instructor has time, they teach you how to roll your socks, fold your underwear, fold towels, your shirts, the whole 9 yards. They teach you how to set up your bed and all this other stuff. And then your actual first day of real BMT, you wake up super early. You go run for a run day, or you go work out for a strengthening day. You go back, you shower, you get in a uniform, you go eat breakfast, you go to a classroom. In between classrooms, you're learning how to march. You go back to a classroom, you eat lunch, you go back to a classroom. In between classes again, you learn how to march. Then you go to your dormitory, okay, for a couple of hours, or your barracks. You go there for a couple of hours, and your drill instructor is teaching you more marching, or they're teaching the guidon bearer how to hold the fucking guidon. They're teaching you common sense military stuff. They teach you how to clean really well and how to set up your uniform the night before. And then you go the fuck to bed. And it's like that on repeat for 8 weeks. It
Fuck you.
is stupid simple.
It wasn't simple for me. So
And then you go run the obstacle course and you go through the gas chamber and you go shoot and you're done.
I spent an extra 2 weeks in basic training.
Well, that's your fuck up.
Yeah.
That sounds like a you problem.
It took me an extra 2 weeks to figure it out. I needed a little extra training.
Oh, bro, it was easy. It was so easy. Like, if you're not stupid, if you have common sense, okay? If you have common sense, they tell you what not to do. And as long as you do the things that they tell you not to do, as long as you don't do that, you'll be okay. They'll leave you the fuck alone.
Oh no, I did the thing. I did the thing.
They tell you to stand there and don't move. You stand there and you don't fucking move. And guess what? They leave you alone.
So I got washed back for I don't know if you guys had it, but did you have like the little piece of paper in your back pocket for how much money you always had on you that you had to keep?
We weren't allowed to have money on us. They gave us little debit cards.
Oh, so when I went through basic training, way back in the day, we had a piece of paper. And if you had any money on you, you had to have a running total of, it was like a checkbook, but you had to write it.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking pay attention to that shit. So I had like money on me and my shit said $2 and I got washed back for that because he did the inspection. Now,
that's one of those attention to detail things.
Attention to detail things. Now, caveat back there, I fell for the joke where at the beginning of BMT where he was like, okay, who here goes bowling? And like, fuck you. I know now. I was young and stupid. I raised my hand along with one other person and said like, yeah, we love bowling. Yeah, you're latrine queen. So the guys kept pissing on the fucking seat. And,
of course.
As
men do.
Yeah, as men do. And I got pissed and I was like, in the meeting, I kept on, because you had the meeting before the TI comes in, you can sit there and talk to the whole thing. I would be like, guys, you need to fucking sit down to piss. And a lot of them was like, we're not bitches or whatnot. I was like, I don't give a shit. Apparently you guys don't have fucking good aim. Sit down to piss. I'm tired of cleaning it. And that went on for 5.5 weeks. And I fucking lost it one day. I stood up and and I was just yelling. I was yelling at them, telling them they're fucking fuckers and the whole night. I went off. And then all of them were being real quiet. Like they weren't arguing back or nothing. And I was standing with my back to the door. And I just stopped and I was like, he's fucking behind me, isn't he?
Felt it.
And I turned around and my TI was 6'3". He was a big black dude. And I'm 5'5", 5'6", depending on the convenience store I'm robbing. And I look up at him. I'm like, shit. And he's like, I'll talk to you later. Sit down. So he sat down. And then after he was talking to me, he was like, let me see your money slip. I was like, so I show him my money slip that was all fucked up. And he was like, goodbye. And I was washed back.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an MTI. My MTI told me a story because he was prior security forces. And of course, they see all your paperwork. So he knew I was also going to security forces. And he told me a story one time. He was like, Hannah, if you don't get your shit together, he's like, I'll wash you back. And I was like, yes, sir. And he's like, and I know ways to wash you back. He goes, I've put peanut butter in trainees' lockers and washed them back. Don't fuck up again. Yes, sir. Never fucked up again.
All right. Well, that
Okay,
is a
so
wonderful place.
no.
No.
Yes. We have to talk about beards. We have to finish this off with beards.
Oh, the beards. I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay.
We went on some tangents, so we'll make our
We
beards
did.
thing quick.
We apologize. Just so you know, anybody that's going to be watching this podcast, it's going to happen a lot. We fucking, yeah. We have a plan before we come here. Just so you know, we talk about this shit for hours. Like, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to stay on and shit goes off. Okay, beards. Before
we're still on track.
we're still talking about Pete. Okay, start talking about beards. Like, fuck you, shave your beard.
Do you agree or disagree with his? If you can't shave your beard, you need to get kicked out.
I got caveats on that. No, I don't, because okay, this is where I'm going to need some help from the community, because I am not knowledgeable in this at all, and the fact of the matter is that, what is it, alopecia? Is that what it's called?
Something like that. Alopecia.
Something like that.
We're real close.
Bumps on beards. Let's see, what's it called? Commonly razor bump. Oh no, I can't even pronounce this. PSEUDOFOLLIC.
Do the Google Translate where it like breaks it down.
Holy fuck. Okay, it's a big long fucking word. What the fuck is alopecia then? What were we talking about?
Is that the scalp where you lose hair?
Yes.
Okay, we're way off.
We're not even close. Okay, how do you pronounce this shit?
Copy paste it and then put how to pronounce.
Anyways.
Okay, but we all know what we're talking about.
Okay,
the lumps and the breaks out. That's yes. Like severe. So
it is. And when I was in basic training, the big black guy that was my TI, he actually said this. He was like, "This is very common in the black community." That was yeah. He said black community because that was way before African American came out. But he said this is very common in the black community. So I am not an expert in this in any way. I have had many black friends in the military that have said, "Oh no, I could shave, but I just get the waiver," because most black people in the military, all they have to do is tell their doctor, "I get the bumps," and then they automatically get the shaving waiver. I believe,
but that's as far as it goes. But it stops right there. Yeah, they don't do further treatment. They don't look to see if it's legit. They just say, "Oh, you get the bumps. Okay, here's a waiver. Go by."
Yep, here's a waiver. Go by. Now that I disagree with. I think he should crack down on that. But I also know that this is an actual medical condition for some people that have it. It's not as prevalent in white people, but I do know one. I think I knew one in my whole career that actually had it, and his neck was disgusting. It got bad. So I know it's a real thing, but I don't know if like creams actually help. I had an NCOIC, a master sergeant, that told me, he was like, all these fucking, and he was a black dude, and he was like, all these fucking people are lying. Stop using 5 razors. Use the one razor with the special ridges in it that are
the safety razor or whatever.
The special safety razor for the bumps. He's like, the problem that's going on is all 5 blades are causing the bumps because it keeps on getting deeper and pulling them out, and that's causing the problems. I don't know how true this is, so I don't want to say yes, they're all. I don't want to say somebody's lying because this is not my expertise. I don't know. I would.
Okay, so but
I would almost need to call my buddy Al to get in here on this, so he give me his opinion.
A quick question. Okay, so from that conversation, right, we can gather that yes, there are some black people that have this legit medical diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then we have another group of black people that just don't want to shave. right? I think that's fair to say. We have a group that is legit. We have a group that's
Yeah.
like, I just don't want to shave.
Because white people
So-
really can't lie about this in the military. They just tell us to fuck up a rope and go away.
Yeah. So if the person gets a medical diagnosis of this very hard word to pronounce, where they get the bumps, okay? If they get this medical diagnosis, should they be kicked out of the military?
No. I don't think so. I think he's wrong on this. Yeah, I think he's absolutely wrong on that one. I disagree with him if he says, fucking shave or get out. Or he said, going to special forces. He's like, if you want a beard, go into special forces. If not, get the fuck out. I disagree with that. Wholeheartedly, no. But I don't think any waivers should be given out willy-nilly, because it's not just shaving waivers. There are thousands of waivers in the military.
You sprain an ankle, you get put on a waiver.
Yeah, there's just so many
So
of
the
them.
reason, so I'll explain real quick. So for people who don't know, because they haven't been in the military, why waivers are a thing. So waivers are a thing in the military because if you get injured, it doesn't matter how severe or minor that injury is, right? You go for a jog, you sprain an ankle and you're like limping and you're like, oh fuck. But your squadron or your unit or your department, whatever it is, has PT every single day after work. You are expected to participate in that PT unless you have a waiver. So people who get injured, even if it's just a sprained ankle and they're like, fuck man, my ankle really hurts. I can walk on it, but like it's severe. Like I am hurting while I'm walking. They'll go see their PCM. They get put on like a 2-week waiver to where they are exempt from that PT or whatever
walk or whatever your
whatever it
squadron
is.
does.
Yeah, they'll exempt you from that for 2 weeks so that that injury has time to heal. Because if you do not have a waiver from your doctor saying, hey, you can't do this, guess what? You're fucking doing it, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
So that's why waivers are a thing. You get waivers, you get a big surgery done, you get put on a waiver, right? I had a dog when I was training with K9, I had a dog that ripped my scalp open and I got 8 stitches. I got put on a waiver to not wear a hat or a helmet.
Okay.
Because if you're in uniform and you're outside, what do you have to do?
Gotta have a hat or a helmet.
Gotta have a cover on.
Yep.
And security forces wears a beret, and the way my beret would lay, it would literally, the edge of my beret would literally lay on my staples.
Well, maybe if
So
you
I had a
security
waiver.
forces weren't so fucking picky on how your beret looks, because I
You
said
gotta have a good beret.
you gotta
have a good beret.
Watch you fucking sit there and fucking do all the fucking bullshit. You guys are insane with this shit.
I'm telling you right now, you cannot have a pancake beret unless you are a chief. You cannot. If you see an E4 or an E5 or whoever walking around with a pancake beret and they ain't got chief stripes, they're getting called out. They're getting fucking called out. So it's gotta lay nice, clean. You gotta have that perfect dog ear, dude. Okay. I'll bring out, I know where my beret's out. Our next episode, I'll bring it out and I'll show you. I have a nice fucking beret.
Okay, hold on. Pseudofolliculitis. Yep.
Yeah.
That fucking word. Hold on. We're gonna fucking. I gotta fucking share this. Here we go. Share.
Pseudofolliculitis.
Yeah, that word. So I would agree with that if you have this medical diagnosis, you shouldn't have to get out of the military, because I don't see how you having this medical diagnosis, because it's not like I could understand if you had something it's not curable, right? Okay, I get that. But does it prevent you from doing the job? Does it prevent you from deploying?
No, and you're not going to be sent home because you need cream.
There's no medication for it.
Maybe there is. Hey, if we're wrong,
I don't know.
Ask. Hey, by the way, I'll have. If you guys have any questions or any comments or want to hear us talk about anything, I'll have an email that you guys can ask us questions. Send it here. I'll put
But
it.
like, I feel like
I'll
it's
put it
not.
somewhere. I'll put it somewhere.
I feel like it's not something that you wouldn't get called back from a deployment because you couldn't get your cream. You would just shave a little less, maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Or
Because
use
9 times out of 10, that's what the shaving waiver is you're not required to daily shave, but it's required to be a specific length.
Yeah, you got to use the trimmers basically.
It's got to have it can't extend past a certain bulk, and it's got to be clean cut lines. You can't have the scraggly, you can't have the scragglies going up your face. It's got to be clean cut lines.
Yeah.
That looks professional.
And they have, don't tell me you can't do it, because they have my wife's friend, she's a beautician, and she does my beard, and she can get it almost to the skin. Like right now it's even long. She can get it really short with her special trimmers. But once again, I don't have this problem. I don't know. I don't want to say yes or no, but no, you should not be kicked out. So case in point, I mean, 99% of the stuff I agreed with Pete's speech. I disagree on the beards.
Yeah, dude. It feels a little fake and gay. Feels a little fake and gay. And we will not have any fakeness and gayness.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's too much. So yeah, I agree. That's the BMI that hold hard I don't agree with. Yeah, it's that pendulum swinging too far. It's too strict, too fucking strict.
And I had far left and woke, like way over there.
Now we're going way too far.
We gotta get in this fucking middle.
Yeah, my friend who told me about this, and I was able to bring it up to you because she told me about it before I think it was before his big speech. It was when he first announced it and sent the memorandum out to all the secretaries of the different branches. And she sent it to me, and she right off the bat, she was like, "This is racist." And I was like, "It feels that way a little bit."
I do not think Pete is thinking, because I don't think he's racist at all. First of all, the fucking word racist gets thrown around way too much. It has lost its meaning. If you actually met a fucking racist, you would know it. There would be no two people going, well, I don't think he's racist, and the other person saying he's racist. If there's somebody that's racist, trust me, fucking everybody knows. And Pete is not racist. I don't think he's. I don't think.
Okay, let me rephrase. I don't think he absolutely 100% hates black people. Like, I don't think he's a white supremacist that's like, white is the best and that's all we want. That's all we want in the military. Yeah. I don't think he's that way. But it just feels a little not okay.
Well, with I think it's ignorance. So our last episode, we got onto a discussion, and somebody made a comment about when we were talking about racism inside the black community of light skin, dark skin, stuff like that. And they said something about a brown bag. Neither one of us had ever heard of that. Matter of fact, I texted my best friend, Al, and he's black as the ace of spades. He is my best. I love this man. I mentioned that to him. He's actually going to watch our first episode tonight and give me critiques. I'm kind of worried about it. But when I mentioned him, I was like, I've never heard this brown bag thing. And he was like, dude, I lived it my whole life. I'm like, I've known you for over a decade and you've never mentioned it to me. He's like, it's just part of the black community. And I think is the ignorance that we had, that we've just never heard of it. Like, there was no racist bone in us. We're ignorant. We just don't know. We've never heard of it. I don't think he is looking at it from
okay, so maybe that's how the reports came back, is they didn't break it up as this percentage. So the report came back that like over 60% of the military had shaving waivers, and he's like, why the fuck do we have so many shaving waivers? Right. But I don't think it broke it down to where it was like, of the 64%, 50% of that is African American, 5% of that is white, 2% of that is this, and 1% of that is this. That equals you're encompassing them.
Even if it did break it down. So say, 60, 70%, 60% of the military has shaving waivers. And then he sees the report that says 45% of those are black people. Now, he being a white dude, his buddy being another white dude, his other buddy being a white dude, has no fucking clue about this common problem with black people. So he just looks at it like, what the fuck is going on? Not knowing there, he needs to get like a black dude that walks in there and goes, sec def. Let me break it down for you. In the black community, X, Y, and Z. This is why you have to be friends with everybody, because there's so many things that people miss, and it's just because that's not their culture, it's not their race. I don't know what it's like to comb hair. Well, as you can see, I do. I used to have hair, so I do know how to comb hair, but I don't know what a black woman goes through, like with her hair. It's fuck it. I do have a clue, and that's a story for another time. It's a really funny story, but I discovered what it takes. But I had to date a black woman to find that out. If I never dated a black woman just because the opportunity never came up, I wouldn't know. He might be making his decision because of ignorance and not where me and you know.
Yeah. We could continue on with this because he got rid of a group. He got rid of a group that I don't agree with. I don't think he should have gotten rid of this group.
What group did he get rid of? I didn't hear about this.
I'm looking it up right now. I told you about it and I forget the group that it's called. So yeah, he got rid of the Defense Advisory Committee on Women in the Services. It's been around for like 74 years old, and he was like, nope, no more.
What was his reason? Do you know? Or did he just say, I fucking hate women and bye?
I don't think he was like, fuck women in the military, you're gone. So I don't know the exact reasoning as to why he got rid of it, right? I'd have to do a little bit more research, but I don't think it's something that he should have gotten rid of, because the SecDef is a what? He's a man.
He's a man, yeah.
He doesn't know what women go through in the service. Like this group uniforms. Okay. The very first multicams that I was issued were male uniforms. Now that doesn't bother me because I prefer male fitting clothing because it's looser. I don't need it hugging and pulling in certain areas. Okay, I like it to be loose fitting. I'm not there to freaking make a statement. I don't mind it. But there were a lot of women in my unit who got the male only, and they fucking hated it. It was super uncomfortable. The crotches were too long and it rubbed in certain ways. They were chafing. They had to buy all these additional items of garment to wear. And that's just something that this group helped with, was like, hey, we need stuff for our female troops. We are not all cookie cutter, right? And so that's when like they would help with stuff like that. Or like plates. As cops, we had to wear plate carriers with fucking level 4 plates in them. And we were never, ever, ever given the option to wear the ones that are more form fitting to breath.
Just
This committee,
out of curiosity, how does that work? Because, I mean, if you're part of the itty bitty titty committee, then fine. But what about the women that are...
Oh, they're very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable.
Gifted.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. So, this committee...
Do they make form-fitting plates?
Yeah, they make ones that are cut a little bit different so that it allows for breasts. It may not necessarily conform to like very large endowed breasts, but it helps a little bit. It's a little bit.
They don't make double D plates.
Yeah, so it helps a little bit. Okay, but that's things like that committee did.
Okay.
They helped with things like that. Because everything, and I don't want to discredit our leadership in those higher levels, right? But they just don't think of the little minute things that might impact women or that might impact other communities other than what they themselves are.
I would like to say he had a reason, but I mean, on the surface, I mean, maybe he's just trying to cut things and I mean, it sounds bad on the surface. I don't like it, but I don't like it because I can look at it like, no, like if I was going to design something, the plates, I would never have thought of that. Like, but I'm a dude. I mean, I have titties now, but you know, I got a little extra weight. But no, I mean, like but I didn't know.
Yeah.
But between your menstrual cycles, boobs, pants fit. So my wife, when she works for the security company, they gave her pants. One of the pair of pants that she has were male pants for the security company. The other two were female. And I could not believe that they had the same pockets, same design. They fit. They were the same size, male equivalent to a female, but just the way they were cut in the crotch area, totally fucking different. And she's constantly like she was constantly fucking yanking
Having to
on,
readjust and move. Yep.
Yep. And I'm just like, what's wrong with you, baby? Like, what's wrong? She was like, these fucking these slacks suck. And I was like, what sucks? And I'm wearing it and I'm like, look comfortable to me. I don't know what you're talking about. And that's when she just looked at me and she was like, well, you don't have a vagina, so shut up. So,
Yeah. Yeah. They form different. Now, someone like me, since I came out, I've worn nothing but men's jeans and I've gotten used to it. And I like that I have a little bit more room. My pockets are deeper, right? They're nice. And I carry a gun. And so that's even better, you know? So, but it's little things that people don't think of, right? The average person, average man, okay, your example is perfect. You're not going to think about how these men's pants fit on a woman's body. Our physiques are so different.
but men and women are interchangeable. We're exactly the same.
The military, if you want fucking equality, the military is the go-to for you. It's equal for everything across the board. There's one style pants, there's one style blouses, there's one style plates and vests. There's one everything. And if it doesn't work for you, tough luck.
All right. Oh, all right.
That's a great spot to leave off.
That's a great spot. Thank you, everybody, for anybody that's stepping in, watching. We appreciate it. Please subscribe. We will be back next Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to do this every Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on because we all have real jobs. Yeah. So we have to line up our. If you haven't figured out, we live in two different places. One of us is in Texas, one's in Arizona. So we both have jobs, lives, families, the whole 9 yards. So we're going to try to do this once a week, unless we get 1 million followers, and then we both can quit and just live on this. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. So if you guys want it to happen where you're like, hey, we're 2 episodes deep and I love these guys, we need to make this a thing, get us where we need to be. Yeah. Then you can have us, we might even do twice a week. Who knows?
Three times. 3 times.
Three times a week and 1 live.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy, Hannah. You have a good one. Bye, everybody.
All right, brother. Bye, everybody. Enjoy.